guys, Comic Boom here to review Heroes in Crisis number 5. Superman gives a speech. That pretty much is it. Superman gives a speech, and Booster Gold and Blue Beetle discover that the Wally West is actually, his corpse is 5 days too old, which means that Wally West is technically still alive. We finally get a clue as to the timeline here because we're within that 5 days. So basically, Wally West technically died 5 days from now, and his corpse, after he dies 5 days from now, will be delivered back. It will be delivered back to Sanctuary, where it will be obviously dropped off by whoever killed him. So there's a little bit of time displacement, time mystery going on there, and that's interesting. Last issue ended with Lois Lane violating the trust of the heroes because it's so important to tell the world what the secret identities are of all the heroes, which in effect that's what she's doing because she's revealing that there's Sanctuary to the world. Somehow she's going to reveal that Sanctuary exists and she's got the tapes, but I don't know how. If she's got the tapes, the world's going to see the tapes, they're going to see everything. Or maybe Lois Lane's not going to reveal the tapes where Clark Kent, admits he's Superman, Bruce Wayne is Batman. All the secrets of the heroes are on those tapes that were sent to Lois Lane by a mysterious person, presumably the puddlers who committed the atrocities and the murders at Sanctuary. I don't know. But in any event, seems a little odd, but Superman tries to defuse the situation, him and Wonder Woman, by giving a speech, a press conference, where they basically tell the world that there's nothing to be afraid of. We just got a lot of screwed up heroes here with mental problems. So all these superpowered beings with mental problems, don't worry about it because, the Sanctuary is to help heal them and they're like warriors and this is a good thing. After all, we know that therapy always helps. The people of the DC Universe, they know that therapy helps, right? Because every time the Joker goes into Arkham Asylum and comes out again, he's fine. He doesn't kill anybody after he comes out of Arkham. Arkham has a huge success rate. So if Arkham Asylum has a huge success rate, I'm sure the people of the planet of Earth in the DC Universe, I'm sure they have the utmost confidence that the patients in Sanctuary are going to come out of their therapy just peachy, right? Ooh. Anyways, I'm not really sure what I understand why Superman and Wonder Woman wanted to do that. They wanted to control the PR, control the press. You got to do what you got to do. I don't think it's that big a deal, Sanctuary. It's not as big a deal as the Trinity here is making it. I think Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman are very much sort of overcompensating here. Look, it's absolutely horrible, the murders that took place at Sanctuary, of course. So focus on solving the mystery. I don't think the average citizen gives a rat's ass that a bunch of heroes are killed at Sanctuary. Why would they care that Sanctuary exists? Is it really going to surprise them that the heroes have therapy? They know all the supervillains have therapy. All the citizens of the DC Universe, that most of them suffer from PTSD. They go through a crisis, every year? Original Crisis and Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, Convergence, 0 Hour Crisis in Time. The average citizen of the DC Universe is probably royally screwed up. I'm thinking that they probably don't consider Sanctuary to be that big a deal. After all, they're all going to therapy. So this whole thing, and that's one of the reasons why that I was more interested in maybe how the therapy works, or how exactly this computerized psychiatrist tries to help the heroes. And of course we got a ridiculous answer. Tom King didn't do a lot of research into that, and I think it takes away a little bit from the story because, quite frankly, I was a little bit more interested in that. Instead, he sort of breezes over that and he's turned it into a PR campaign, and with minuscule focus on something that's far more interesting, and that is the actual murder. Now, while Superman and Wonder Woman are giving a completely pointless press conference that does very little to appease the concerns, which I don't think probably likely existed anyway for the citizens of the DC Universe. After all, come on. Heroes going to therapy? That's going to be as effective as the villains going to therapy at Arkham, like I said, In other words, it ain't going to work. And besides, what say does the average citizen have against the superheroes? The superheroes are going to do what they want anyway. It would seem to me that the most logical extension of this is that if the citizens were actually concerned about the heroes being in Sanctuary, that they would have a Hero Registration Act, that they would force all the superheroes and the villains to register themselves, akin to what has gone on in the past in the Marvel Universe, right? I mean, you can't really have your cake and eat it too. Once you've opened up this can of worms now, DC, you got to go to the next logical place. Because look, if the citizens of the DC Universe, who have gone through all these crises over the decades and all the ridiculous amount of suffering and violence that they've witnessed from dark attacks from Darkseid, the Monitor, Anti-Monitor, etc., 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 the Joker and Gotham and Lex Luthor and the Legion of Doom and the Totality and all this craziness, the Crowded Earth, the Witching Hour, all those massive, massive events that killed hundreds of thousands of lives. You think maybe the average citizen of the DC Universe isn't a little bit screwed up? Maybe they need the therapy? But no, Superman, give a press conference and make it all about you. Yes, I know that you people are all hurting, but no, it's really much more important that we heroes have the therapy, but don't be scared because we know therapy works, right? Just ask Dr. Arkham at Arkham Asylum. Look at his success rate with the Joker, right? Come on! Anyways, I'm going to start I always say I'm going to stop harping on this stuff, but then I keep turning around and going back to it. Whatever. In the meantime, the other part of the story is Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, who continue to be written out of character, decide, of course, Blue Beetle bust Booster Gold out of imprisonment last issue, and they decided to go to hide out in a dilapidated apartment because apparently, Blue Beetle isn't a billionaire anymore and can afford a decent place to live. And there's again beautiful page spread here. The art's fantastic by Clayman, but let's be blunt, the art doesn't save the story. But it's beautiful art. It's beautiful art by Clayman. Once again, Tom King gets the best artist in the business to help him tell a story, which ends up epically failing in any event. So, where does that leave us? Booster Gold and Blue Beetle decide that, in their genius, they're going to confront Barry Allen, the Flash. And Barry Allen is rendered unconscious by Booster Gold. And then they discover, when they study the body of Wally West, that Wally West's body is actually 5 days too old. So what that means is that Wally West is still technically alive, but he dies approximately 5 days after his actual date of death. He actually died 5 days later, likely sometime in the future, and his body was simply deposited backwards in time at the Sanctuary, which takes place in issue 1. So that's interesting. So Wally West is technically still alive, but he's someplace in the future. Now, what's interesting about that, and of course, here we're going to get into more bad writing. We gotta now touch base with the Flash Annual, which is where Barry Allen finally comes to terms with the fact that Wally West is dead. The Flash Annual reveals what Wally West's reaction was to discovering that Wally West was dead. And the Flash Annual is actually not bad. I don't review the Flash because, frankly, I'm going to be very blunt. I often don't have very nice things to say about the Flash because I think overall, I don't think Williamson's been doing a particularly... It's very by the numbers. It's not a spectacular job. It's just not my cup of tea. And I say that with respect because I love Williamson's work on Birthright. Image's Birthright is a really good job there. But Flash is just not my cup of tea. I don't like it's going all over the place. It's dealing with the Sage Force, Strength Force, and some other force, and then now there's a Forever Force, and they're all fighting against each other for control of the Forever Force, and it's nonsense. And this here basically just reveals that, as in the first issue when Booster Gold runs into runs into Barry Allen, and Barry Allen discovers that Wally West has been killed, that Barry Allen searches the Speed Force. He searches the Speed Force for Wally West, hoping that Wally West is hiding himself in the Speed Force and that he's not really dead. And it ends up that apparently Barry concludes that Wally West is really dead because he can't find him in the Speed Force. And so he's all depressed. Then he gets attacked by Godspeed and yada, yada, yada. And then there's if you want to be confused about more forces, read The Flash. I don't recommend it. I do it because I'm a completionist, but don't bother. In any event, check out The Flash if you want. Barry Allen's not too bright. He's written like an idiot, has been written like an idiot throughout Williamson's run, with the exception of the button, which had Jeff Johns' influence, where Barry Allen actually shows some semblance of intelligence. So, back to Heroes in Crisis. That's it. That's really it. And meanwhile, all this is going on, Batgirl, who's also written like an idiot, Batman, who's also written like an idiot, and Harley, who always has been an idiot, they're involved now. Batgirl wants to interrogate Skeets. Now, Batman interrogated Skeets already with his computer algorithms in the Batcave to discover if Skeets knew where Booster Gold was, who was broken out of imprisonment by Blue Beetle. Batman was unsuccessful. Batman apparently believes Skeets when Skeets says he doesn't know where Booster Gold is. Batgirl doesn't. Batgirl lies to Batman by telling him that, well, I've got 24th century algorithms back in my apartment that I'd like to run tests on Skeets because he might know something but not realize he knows it. Again, total rubbishness. I mean, how would Batgirl know she's got a 24th century algorithm? And if you got a 24th century algorithm, why wouldn't you share it with the world? You know, again, maybe you need therapy, Batgirl. Oh, that's right, you got the therapy. You were also a patient at Sanctuary, but you weren't killed. Anyways, ridiculous. So anyways, Batgirl takes Skeets and they interrogate Skeets with Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn uses her hammer and apparently hammers Skeets to death. I mean, Skeets, who is fairly powerful, can time travel himself, apparently can be, interrogated successfully by some crazy blonde with a hammer. Again, ridiculous. So not only can Harley Quinn defeat the Trinity, but she can successfully interrogate Skeets more successfully than Batman, simply by hitting it with a hammer. Again, if you stop and think about this, it's absurdity on multiple levels, but whatever. They find Booster Gold at the end, and so now Harley and Batgirl want to confront Booster Gold? Why? They already know he didn't do it. What, you think your hammer's gonna work on Booster Gold like it worked on Skeets? You know what? It probably will, because Tom King's writing this story, and who knows? Maybe it will. Maybe it will. There's no logic here. There's no story logic. There's no respect of continuity. The problem with trying to criticize Tom King is that he doesn't even respect his past issues. Continuity established in past issues. So you never know what he's going to do, because he might violate another one of his own in-story continuitous establishments. So in any event, beautifully drawn. It ends with confrontation with, great, once again, Batgirl's got a great rack. Thank God for, we got some pretty pictures to look at. But again, it's interesting to know that maybe Wally West he's still around. He's going to die 5 days hence. That's interesting. We finally got a timeline because we know that. Because I was wondering over the last 4 issues how much time has passed. How do we coordinate with the other comic books, and in terms of how the rest of the DC universe is reacting to the deaths at Sanctuary. It's not been particularly well handled by DC. Hasn't been particularly well handled, frankly, by Williamson, or by even in the pages of Titans, or quite frankly by King himself in the pages of Heroes in Crisis. None of this has been well handled. This issue doesn't improve upon anything. Superman's speech is redundant and ridiculous on multiple levels if you stop and just think about it and try to connect the dots. But in any event, I don't know. I still don't care if Wally West ends up being the bad guy. He probably will be. And I'm still pissed off at Barry Allen because he put Wally West in the Sanctuary anyway, who didn't need it. All Wally West needed was his wife and kids back. But Barry Allen, you prick, what did you do? You didn't believe Wally that his wife and his kids are still alive. You put him in Sanctuary, and instead of going and looking for Linda and the twins, you decided to go looking for ridiculous Sage Force, Steel Force, and your stupid Force Quest, which has done absolutely nothing and been an exceptionally boring read. Thanks. Anyways, tell me what you think of Heroes in Crisis and the Flash Annual. What the hell? Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. Hit the subscribe button. Until next time, Comic Boom, out.